Welcome to Keep Liv'n. Happy Women's Month, and it's story time with Jessi Almstead.
That's amazing. Hi, everybody. Yes, it's me, that dorky lady again with the books. I'm back. This is Keep Liv'n, and I am not Jay. I am Jay's friend, Jessi, and I am a teacher and a member of the Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society, where we are formulating an ethics for children program and doing all kinds of stuff with Jay. So that's why I'm here. And I'm going to be reading another amazing book today. It's called Tar Beach by Faith Ringgold. And I was inspired to choose this book for Keep Liv'n because this is all about freedom. We're all freedom folks. And everything that Faith Ringgold has done in her work has been rooted in freedom. And if you haven't read this book, you'll see that, I think. So, yeah. Every time I hear that song, I just think, and I haven't met Jay in person yet, but when I do, I almost expect that song to start playing and then like the curtain opens and Jay comes out. We'll see if that really happens. All right, folks, Tar Beach. This story is autobiographical and mixed with fiction. And it is a piece of Faith Ringgold's story of her life that she tells in the form of a quilt. So she kind of pioneered this idea of story quilting. I mean, quilts existed for a very long time. And in fact, Faith Ringgold learned quilting from her mother and her ancestors. It was passed down from her great-great-great-grandmother, maybe even before that. But I mean, how amazing is that to have a skill in an art form that's that meaningful and goes back that far in your roots? But she put the quilt together with her paintings on the fabric and then write the words of the story all around the borders. And you'll see at the end a picture of one of them. And this particular Tar Beach quilt is at the Guggenheim. So here, the dedication page. This was her first published book. My first book is for my mother, Madam Willie Posey, who took me to Tar Beach and everywhere else, if she could be here now. And for my 3 grandchildren, Faith, Theodora, and Martha, they are all strong readers and can fly. And for my children, Michelle and Barbara, they are women now, but I knew them when. And for my husband, Burdett Ringgold, who keeps my feet on the ground, it was he who reminded me about Tar Beach after all these years. And I'll try to situate myself so you can see the beautiful imagery. I will always remember when the stars fell down around me and lifted me up above the George Washington Bridge. Such an icon of New York City, isn't it? I could see our tiny rooftop with Mommy and Daddy and Mr. and Mrs. Honey, our next door neighbors, still playing cards as if nothing was going on. and Bebe, my baby brother, lying real still on the mattress, just like I told him to, his eyes like huge floodlights tracking me through the sky. Sleeping on Tar Beach was magical. Lying on the roof in the night with stars and skyscraper buildings all around me made me feel rich, like I owned all I could see. The bridge was my most prized possession. So Faith Ringgold actually was born and grew up right in Harlem, in full view of the George Washington Bridge. Daddy said that the George Washington Bridge is the longest and most beautiful bridge in the world, and that it opened in 1931 on the very day I was born. Daddy worked on that bridge, hoisting cables. Since then, I've wanted that bridge to be mine. Now I have claimed it. All I had to do was fly over it for it to be mine forever. I can wear it like a giant diamond necklace. Or just fly above it and marvel at its sparkling beauty. I can fly, yes, fly. Me, Cassie Louise Lightfoot, only 8 years old and in the 3rd grade, and I can fly. That means I am free to go wherever I want for the rest of my life. What is this connection between flying and freedom? I wonder. Daddy took me to see the new Union building he's working on. He can walk on steel girders high up in the sky and not fall. They call him the cat. But still, he can't join the Union because Grandpa wasn't a member. Well, Daddy's going to own that building because I'm going to fly over it and give it to him. Then it won't matter that he's not in their old Union or whether he's colored or a half-breed Indian like they say. He'll be rich and won't have to stand on a 24-story high girders and look down. He can look at his building going up. And Mommy won't cry all winter when he goes to look for work and doesn't come home. And Mommy can laugh and sleep late like Mrs. Honey. And we can have ice cream every night for dessert. Next, I'm going to fly over the ice cream factory just to make sure we do. Tonight, we're going up to Tar Beach. Mommy's roasting peanuts and frying chicken, and Daddy will bring home a watermelon. Mr. and Mrs. Honey will bring the beer and their old green card table. And then the stars will fall around me, and I will fly to the Union building. I'll take Bebe with me. He has threatened to tell Mommy and Daddy if I leave him behind. I've told him it's very easy. Anyone can fly. All you need is somewhere to go that you can't get to any other way. The next thing you know, you're flying among the stars. Ooh. And here you see this quilt in its entirety. Let me see if I can. And the text to the story, if it will focus, is, as you can see, all around the top and then at the bottom. I don't know. I've always been drawn to fabrics and prints and patterns and textures for my whole life. And I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer at one time. And I went to FIT, the fashion school, but I studied business. But anyway, something about her work, it just really speaks to me. It's using soft materials. And she also made soft sculptures such as dolls and such, and paintings through the years. So now a little bit about this story and Faith Ringgold. Here she is. This book was published in, I think, 1991, so this information isn't completely up to date. She's still alive. I believe she's like, 90 years old or something. Tar Beach, a story quilt by Faith Ringgold, combines autobiography, fictional narrative, painting, and quilt making in one art form. It was completed in 1988 as the first of 5 quilts in Ringgold's Woman on a Bridge series and is in the collection of the Guggenheim in New York City. Faith Ringgold has been a painter since the 1950s. In the 70s, she began to work in soft sculpture, collaborating with her mother, Willie Posey Jones, a fashion designer and dressmaker who had a major influence on her interest in quilts. Willie Posey described watching her grandmother, Betsy Bingham, boil and bleach flour sacks to line the quilts that she sewed. Susie Shannon, Betsy's mother, was a slave in antebellum Florida who made quilts as part of her duties. Ringgold's quilt designs echo the African-influenced, repetitive geometric design characteristic of many early American quilts. As Ringgold became more interested in telling stories, as well as in painting and quilt making, she began using quilts as vehicles for her stories. Most of her quilts concern the experience of the Black female in America. Cassie, the narrator of Tar Beach, dreams of being free, to go wherever she wants for the rest of her life. Flying is how she will achieve her dream, echoing an important motif in African American folktale literature, in which slaves told of flying to freedom as wish fulfillment or as a metaphor from escaping from slavery. References to more contemporary African American history are also part of the story. Ringgold alludes to the practice of excluding African Americans and Native Americans from unions in her description of Cassie's father, who was not allowed in the union because he was colored or half-breed Indian, like they said. Minorities, even those used by trades for skills such as high steel work, could be excluded from unions on the basis of the so-called grandfather clause. If a man's father was not a union member, that was grounds for keeping him out too. Cassie fulfills Ringgold's vision of a Black female doing heroic, creative things, for it is Cassie who has the power to emancipate her father. But Tar Beach is not a work of history. It is fiction, the transformation of Ringgold's memories of childhood. Ringgold was born and still lives in Harlem. Actually, now she lives in New Jersey, but at this time she did. Her family often went up on the roof on hot summer nights. Adults played cards, children ate and stayed up late, lying together on a mattress. The childless couples, who always seem to have more money than the families with children, are represented by Mr. and Mrs. Honey, named because, as Ringgold says, it was always honey this and honey that. The site of Tar Beach is the rooftop of a neighboring apartment house that Ringgold sees from the windows of her Harlem apartment. The bridge is George Washington Bridge, which Ringgold calls her bridge because it has been part of her view all of her life. The picture book Tar Beach shares many elements with Ringgold's story quilt. The text, originally written on fabric strips around the border of the quilt, has been altered slightly for stylistic and textual reasons. Ringgold created entirely new paintings for the book, using acrylic on canvas paper, similar to the canvas fabric she used in the original quilt painting. The page border is reproduced from the original story quilt, and the background material for the text is the same canvas paper Ringgold used in her paintings. And then here is just a final image of these two characters flying. And this image of people flying like this, kind of in a superhero, I guess Superman would do that, with the arms out flying, is also repeated in the mosaic installation in the Harlem subway stop on the Red Line to train in Harlem. It's really amazing to see that installation right in Harlem, showing all these people from history of the Harlem Renaissance, artists, musicians, thinkers, and they're all flying in that pose. And every time I see it, it just, I don't know, it gets me, because that is freedom kind of personified in a childlike way, and to think about flying in that way. And also reminds me a little bit of my childhood, because, I don't know, we all have special places when we're growing up. And we would always go to the public pool during the summers. And I will always remember just using all my senses there, what it sounded like and felt like in the hot sun, and you get out of the pool and it's cold, but you're kind of like the water's evaporating off your body, and just I don't know, it just brings me to such a peaceful place in my mind when I think about that. I wonder if any of you have that. I mean, maybe it's not a real place, but just a thing or a place or a thought that you can rely on to calm you in times of stress. It's great as a tool. So that's all I have for you today, but I do want to take a moment to thank Jay for inviting me to be here and take place in Keep Liv'n. I'm personally very inspired by Jay and all of you who put this together. And this idea of freedom, you all are opening my mind to kind of a whole other chapter corner that I haven't really explored. So I'm going to keep watching and listening, and even go back and listen and watch old episodes that I've missed, because it is amazing. And keep doing it. Keep living. I'm going to go collapse now because I have a 1-year-old, and whoo, she tires me out. Happy Women's History Month. It's not over yet. And yeah, happy spring. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Right now.